Hello everyone and welcome to the Daily Review. Today is Wednesday, July 11th, and some interesting things going in the market today. I think that a lot of the technical signs that we talked about over the past few days have definitely followed through, and a lot of good stuff going on. So some great market conditions. First of all, though, before we get into that, let's talk about our news for tomorrow. One major thing we have going on tomorrow, since it's Thursday, is the US dollar unemployment claims. So that could be a pretty big announcement. We want to pay close attention to that. And then later on in the day, we do have some gross domestic product, which will also affect the market. So those two are our major red tech events, and you want to keep your eye on those as you're trading. All right. As always, we want to go over our terms and condition. Make sure that you understand that our daily review, our daily analysis is for educational purposes only. We're not registered or licensed in any way, so this is just for educational purposes. It's important to understand that because the United States government is very strict about what we can and cannot do, and we want to be very clear that we are following those guidelines. Okay, so make sure you understand exactly what that is. All right, and then let's jump into our analysis. All right. Unfortunately, the US yen is still kind of bouncing back and forth in this very tight channel. It's something that we've been looking at for quite some time and hoping for a good break. We did have one break here that looked like we might get a bullish break, but it retreated right back down into our zone. So nothing to see there. Now today we had a really good tail and a strong bullish bar. But again, I'm not really interested in taking it because I want to see it break out. As far as I'm concerned, there's a good possibility that it's going to keep doing this, and I don't want to be stuck in a trade while that's going on. I would like to see a really strong break in one direction or the other, and of course, not just a break, but a follow through. I think that most likely my sentiment would be for a bearish break if I could pick one or the other. Because of this reversal momentum, I think is still important for this pair. So I think that a bearish break to me would provide a more high probability setup than a bullish break. But either way, a breakout to either side for me is going to be a good opportunity and something that I want to take advantage of without a doubt. So I'm just going to keep waiting on it. I'm going to keep showing you guys this chart every day and showing you where we're at, and hopefully eventually we're going to get a good opportunity. And that's just kind of how trading goes. The euro dollar has, it's followed through to the downside very consistently. Now, I remember showing this inside bar right here and talking about, some bearish expectancy up here. And as a matter of fact, I actually took a short on this bar here and got stopped out on this stupid little bullish bar the next day. And what happened was I was trying to get my stop really tight to just hit a really large trade, and I just tightened it up a little bit too tight and got stopped out by a few pips before just this absolute massive bearish rally that we see here. So unfortunately, I lost this trade where it could have been just a massive trade because this was risking 2%. And so if this little bar is risking 2%, you can see that if I'm still holding on to the trade, I'd probably be up about 18, 20, 25%, whatever that works out to be. Unfortunately, I was too aggressive and did not give myself enough room and missed out on this massive run. But I think there's still opportunity to get in. Obviously, the price is not nearly as good as it was 300 and some pips ago, but we did break through our bottom here. We showed some struggling. We broke. We retested this level, and now we're still headed in the bearish direction. So for me, I think there's still some good bearish potential here, and definitely a lot of momentum headed in the downward direction. Now, if you scroll up, we can see that. Let me pull this here. We can see that it hasn't been this low in quite some time. Here we go. It hasn't been this low in quite some time. So as far as I'm concerned, this is definitely showing euro dollar as a very bearish pair. When it hasn't touched this low in multiple months, and in this case, I guess it's been years, right? 3 years, I guess it's been. So that's that's definitely quite some time. So when that's the case, it means that obviously euro dollar is setting a new stage. It's definitely headed down with a lot of momentum and breaking multiple year lows. And when it's doing that, it's probably something that you want to take advantage of and be on the side of the momentum, and that's what I advise you do. As far as this test and continuation, I think it's a good signal and something that I would definitely be interested in shorting in for me personally. Okay. Pound dollar is also very bearish. Now, the only difference with pound dollar is that it has a little more resistance in its way, and certainly, obviously, based on what you see here, is not making new multiple year lows. As a matter of fact, it was much lower quite recently, and then not even that much longer before that. So pound, a lot more resistance, but still very bearish. I drew this line here just to show that it is on a very slight up channel. You can see it a little better if I zoom into the 4-hour. My 4-hour chart. Oh, that's the 3-hour chart. Either way, there you go. 3-hour chart will show just as good. But you can see that it is slightly upward. Now, I don't think that that's a lot of authority on this trend line, but just to point out that it's not quite as bearish as the euro dollar in terms of breaking new lows. Okay, so both of those are good ones to watch. As far as I'm concerned, if you're going to short something against the euro or against the dollar, excuse me, the euro makes a lot more sense than the pound at this point. Okay, USD CAD. Again, USD CAD is still trying to rally. You can see that today's bar started out as a very large bearish bar. It looked like US dollar was collapsing under the Canadian dollar and headed back down, but it rallied towards the end of the day, and now we're very small as far as the bearish candle today. It's very small. There's a large tail headed back up, so lacking a lot of momentum there. If it did close the way kind of it looks now, for me, that would probably be a good opportunity to suspect that this little trend line is going to continue. But considering that it rallied back up, you might look for it to actually go ahead and come back up to test that. So it's taking its time here. It's not really making a definite decision as far as whether it's going to come down and test the parity again or not. And as for me, it's just something that I think would be wise to wait on again, because you don't really have a great technical signal there. Okay, Euro odd continuing to be bearish. It's amazing. It's just newer lows, newer lows, newer lows. And again, this is something that we were short on quite some time ago. Collected a lot of pips on that, and just continues to fall. Euro odd, obviously a great trade just because euro has been very weak and odd is gaining strength. So obviously with that combination, we've got a lot of pips in the downward direction, and just a great pair to take advantage of. Euro CAD is the other one we were looking at, and it seems that Euro CAD is pretty bearish as well, but just not to the extent of Euro odd. Just not, because CAD has been somewhat strong, but not to the level of strength that the Canadian dollar has been. So we look to match obviously the best pairs, and for me right now, Euro and odd doesn't get much better than that. Someone did actually in a comment mention that they wanted some analysis on the pound yen. So now that I'm thinking about that, let's look at the pound yen. I didn't really prepare any analysis for this because it's not something that I look at a whole lot, but I do want to respect that comment and make sure that we look at that. For pound yen, obviously there's a little bit of a base here that's been holding up for a decent amount of time, and we can see that we had an ascending triangle here. Let me get rid of this line. We had an ascending triangle here that was broken to the upside, but then collapsed right back through to the downside. So as far as I'm concerned, that's kind of out of the picture. It doesn't really have a lot of weight considering it was broken both ways. Now this base for me is trying to support pound yen as far as what I'm seeing here. Now you can see that the pound yen is pretty sideways over the recent history, a lot of up and down, and this level that I just drew, this line up here, is kind of a common level. You can see it's been tested a lot of times, broken through a lot of times, and I think that might attract price. So if you can get a strong bounce from the level we're at here, my suspicion would be that it would actually bounce up and touch our next level here. Now you see that we've had some failure bounces. This one bounced and was rejected. and obviously this bounce was very small and then rejected back down. So eventually, if this continues to bounce, it's going to touch higher. But then again, if it breaks below, then you might have a good short opportunity. For me, the pound I think is capable of some strength. But then again, the yen is too, especially because the yen continues to gain strength when the economy weakens in Japan. So that's something to always look out for. But this is just one that's in some indecision here. Definitely not something that is showing a lot of momentum right now. You can see that it kind of has a little bit of an M pattern here, where it's touching off its base, and you might look for it to rise. But that's not really a great signal as far as I'm concerned. Just because it's just struggling. It's just a very choppy market. So to me, I'd wait for a great break off of this level and try to get in long. And on the situation where it's going to come up to this level, that's a decent amount of pips because pound yen moves pretty decent. So from this level to this level is about 130 pips. So that's a pretty good amount of pips. Now, obviously, you might be worried about a bounce like this where it just rejects you. But one thing you have to note is that the more often it gets rejected, the more times it fakes you out, basically the higher probability it is for the next time to actually work and not be a fake out. So, this might look like trouble because it's faked out before, but it's actually, in my opinion, a beneficial thing because the next time that it bounces, I think it increases your probability of a good follow through to the upward side. So that's my advice on pound yen, just waiting for a good bounce off this level. A bullish bounce would definitely be my sentiment, and looking for it to come back and touch this level. If you do get a bearish break, depending on how strong that is, your resistance level is here, so that's also actually some decent room for it to head down. So that's probably over 100 pips here, from here to here. Let's see, that's 118 pips there. So a good opportunity either way as far as I'm concerned, but I think you want a strong technical momentum-filled bounce, not just kind of a mediocre bar. You want a good strong level, and so that's what I'll be looking for on the pound yen. Speaking of the pound New Zealand's been weird lately because we had that high retrace over the next 3 bars. It was headed down. I was short on this. I got stopped out on the momentum little rally that we had here. But now it looks like that kind of twisted and it's headed back down. So for me, this is a pretty good short opportunity. You'd like to see it fill a little more on this candle than we see right here. But I think that could be a really good trade opportunity. So I'm looking for a short opportunity, a little more precise entry than it has right now. So maybe tomorrow morning, like 4-hour bar, I'll look for that. But I think that pound New Zealand is definitely looking to be short overall in the near future. Again, okay, so that's what I'm looking at. Again, just a lot of market movement, a lot of technical signs. For me, I think that the market's moving pretty nice right now, and I think there's a lot of trade opportunities. So just take those trade opportunities with good management, good risk, and smart trade management, and you should have some pretty good trade opportunities, and hopefully you'll realize a pretty nice profit. All right, I think that's about it for me on the technical analysis today. Hopefully this was enjoyable and helpful for you, and leave any comments or questions, and I'll talk to you very soon.